Okay, so it's time for another review for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, and the show I'm looking at today is Madeleine Stewart's So Brave, which I caught last night at the Malthouse Theatre in the little room called The Tower, which I am very quickly falling in love with. Now, one of the great things I find about the comedy festival is sometimes you go to see comedians that you don't really know the work of, and I have to admit, I didn't know the work of Madeleine Stewart before last night, but I am so glad that I went along to the show because this is a comedian now that I cannot wait to go along and see again. Now, for those people that don't know about Madeleine Stewart, Madeleine Stewart was born with one hand, and that is a real focal point of the comedy show, but in a different way than you would normally expect. Madeline talks to the audience about what it was like growing up with one hand, what it's been like for her throughout her life, what it's been like trying to date, meeting people online. This is a really brutally honest show, and it's one of the things I really, really liked about Madeline's style of humor is that not only did it make you laugh, but it made you stop and think. There are times during this show where she points out some of the shortfalls of NDIS, the way that the current Morrison government treats people with disabilities, and I liked that. I like going along to see a comedian who makes me think. Of course, I love to go along and watch a comedian that makes me laugh, and Madeline did both of those things. Not only did I laugh, but I also thought about a lot of the things that I saw as part of the show as well. And I knew that I really loved this show because when I got home last night, I couldn't stop talking to my wife about how fantastic this show was, and encouraging her to go along and see it. Like I said, I did not know Madeline's comedy before last night, and halfway through this show, I was like, wow, I cannot believe that I hadn't seen the work of this comedian before because I was laughing all throughout. I loved how candid Madeline was. This wasn't one of those shows where the comedian isn't frightened to tell personal stories. She told very personal stories. They were personal stories that made you laugh. They were personal stories that made you think. And for that, I really, really loved the show. It doesn't surprise me that Madeline's worked with people like Adam Hills, Andrew Denton, and Rove McManus because she definitely deserves to be mentioned alongside of those people. In fact, I cannot wait to see Adam Hills ask her to be on the last leg because I think that would be such an amazing thing and would put her out onto the international stage, which is where she definitely deserves to be. Like I said, I was laughing all throughout this show. There was things in it that made me think, and I was doing that old man thing where I was nodding, like, yes, no, I agree. And so, yeah, this was a show that really, really spoke to me in the sense that it made me realize a few things. It got me angry at times when I was getting angry about the way that people with disabilities are treated by other people. I just really, really enjoyed this show. So if you want a show that's going to make you laugh and it's going to make you think, then head along and check out Madeleine Stewart's brand new show, So Brave, which is on as part of the comedy festival in the Tower at the Malthouse. I'm giving this show 4 out of 5. I thought it was a really, really amazing show, and I cannot wait to be able to go along and see Madeleine Stewart with their next show as well. So 4 out of 5 for me.